If you were to give up on yourself right now in this moment when you're watching this video, would you be proud of yourself and are you where you want to be? These are questions that you need to ask yourself and sit with yourself whenever you feel like you're giving up, you want to give up, or you're just frustrated and you're tired. Welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance, and what we're going to talk about in this video is how you're going to continue to stay consistent, to stay committed, and most importantly, to stay motivated. Now, of course, you have to realize that if you do not have the resources, the tools, and the supplies to accomplish your goals, whether they're short or long term, and you're doing things by yourself, that it's going to require a lot more energy, a lot more effort, and a lot more discipline, and beating yourself up about not having the things that you see other people have. So comparing yourself is not going to change your situation, and it's not going to help you. You have to realize that when you're doing things by yourself, it takes longer. So that's the first disclaimer, because a lot of people have these ideas in their mind. They verbally affirm them and confirm them out loud. They write them down, they visualize, and it's not until the action is required, it's not until they're putting in the work, it's not until they gain momentum and motion that they realize this is an investment. And if you're new here, I made a 30-day challenge playlist of being consistent and what success looks like. And it's important that you watch that playlist, that you watch those videos, because when it comes to being consistent, when it comes to being successful, of course, based off of what that looks like to you, it is an investment. It is time consuming. And it's important that you understand what it is that you're getting yourself into. In order for you to grow, in order for you to ascend, you have to change. So change could be your mindset, change could be psychologically, change could be your emotions, change could be financially, change could be mentally. What you used to do is no longer going to resonate with you. So if you're somebody who is trying to lose weight and you used to weigh a certain amount of weight, you used to eat unhealthy, or you're not used to certain supplements or nutrients, and you want to experience those things, you have to be willing to cut off certain foods and diet and become strict about your health. You have to be able to exercise. You have to make time for things that you're not used to doing. And anything that you do for the first time is new to you. It's unfamiliar. You're not used to it. So you don't know how it's going to take. You don't know how long, it's going to take for you to lose weight if you never lost weight before. You don't know what type of exercises are going to work for you, because what everybody else is doing may not work for you. So always take what resonates and leave the rest. But it's like, when you decide to do something, you need to understand the responsibilities. And in those 30 days of the videos that we talked about, I broke that information down. I'll have that somewhere here on the screen or towards the end of this video or in the description. So make sure you guys are following me on all social media platforms. All the information will be down in the description box below. Like this video, comment down below, and turn on your post notifications so you're subscribed. So that's the first thing you need to keep in mind. It's a lot. It's a responsibility. Losing weight, becoming healthy, especially if you grew up in an environment or in a community where you weren't exposed to that. You have to realize that when you are changing, you are unlearning and learning information that resonates with you. So if everybody in your family was, like I said, not someone who exercised, or who wasn't educated, who didn't have the resources, who didn't have the transportations, if you didn't have certain access to certain privileges to work out, and you decide that you want to break that habit, you want to change that, you have to be willing to realize that you have to work with what you have, and you have to accept that if you want to lose weight or if you want to gain weight, you have to make the necessary changes that are required of you. And it takes a lot. It's not common for people who are used to living a certain type of way. And you have to realize that when you change, your circle is going to change sometimes. If people are willing to support you and they want you to grow and they are growing, they're not going to have an issue. But 99% of the time, you are going to have to outgrow certain family members, certain friends, certain foods, certain things that you are attracted to, that you were exposed to, because it's not helping you grow. And it's like, once you really sit with yourself and you understand what it is that you want, you have to then decide, Are you willing to put in the work, and are you willing to deal with the consequences? Are you willing to work with the responsibilities? What we want to do is not impossible. Let's make that clear. And I need you to say that when you see this video. What you want to do is not impossible. It's just unfamiliar. And like I said, if you don't have anybody who has done the things that you've done, it requires more energy and effort. If, like I said, you're trying to be the first person in your family to eat healthy and everyone's not used to eating a certain type of way, you have to, like I said, let go of all the old ways of thinking about food, how you feel about food, the types of food that you eat, the consumption that you're consuming, and start either substituting that food for healthier foods, getting certain nutrients, getting certain supplements. You have to educate yourself. You may have to go to a physician, a doctor. You may have to go on YouTube, social media online. You may have to start exercising. Like, you may have to get a gym membership. You may have to invest into a personal trainer. Like, you may now, instead of ordering food on Uber Eats and DoorDash 3 to 4 times a week, within that time that you were using before, you got to start exercising for 30 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours a week, months, and days. So before you get overwhelmed, before you decide to quit, make sure you know what it is that you're asking for. And I'm speaking from experience. The more that you can remind yourself, the more you're able to reassure yourself about what it is that you want, and you read the fine print and you understand what it's going to take in order for you to get what it is that you're asking for, you're not going to need to second guess yourself. Like I said, it is common for most people to be afraid of the unknown, especially, like I said, if you haven't been exposed to it, if you didn't grow up a certain type of way. But you have to make a choice. You have to make a choice that, you know what, if I want to be the first person in my family to lose weight, if I want to be the first person in my family to be a multimillionaire, get myself out of poverty, go to school, get a degree, that I'm willing to show up. And that you cannot have an expectation on how it's going to work out for you, because you don't know. You don't know. Like, if you're trying to lose weight and everybody else around you isn't losing weight, you're not going to know until you start exercising. You're not going to know until you start working out. You're not going to know until you cut off certain foods and you start substituting certain foods, and you're seeing what is working and what's not. And even still, when you decide to go to the gym, just because, like I said, you see other people working out, you may not have the same workout as them. So it's good to be inspired. It's good to be admirable when it comes to your peers and your friends and people that you see. But you have to realize your walk, your path is going to be different. Don't be discouraged about what it is that you want to do, but make sure you're becoming educated. In those videos, it's really, like I said, important that you watch all of them, because I broke it down. And if you like a session in the service, I have a separate outlet and a routine for you that is very accessible, very easy to follow, that you have to follow. And I challenge you all to do that for the first 30 days, because if you know anything about consistency, if you know anything about success, it's not in 24 hours. The longer you invest into yourself, the longer you will see the results. So if you want to live a certain lifestyle, keyword is lifestyle, your foundation, you starting, it may take 5 months, 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10, 20. There is no timeline. There is no right or wrong way to do anything. So like I said, take what resonates, leave the rest. But in order for you to stay consistent, you need to be sure about what it is that you want. Once you're sure about what it is that you want, once you understand the responsibilities, you then, like I said, have to be practical about what you're able to do. What is your routine like? What is your time like? What is your day to day like? What resources do you have? You cannot worry about what everybody else is doing. Speaking from experience, when you have a goal to lose weight, yes, you can set it for 6 months, a year, 5 months, but you have to be realistic. Like, a lot of people are like, just be delusional. I don't like that word at all, because if people actually understood what that meant, I don't think people would inform people with that. It's very misleading. We don't have to be delusional. We can be practical. You have to realize that, yes, you can have a goal for 6 months or 5 months, but if you never lost weight before, you may or may not reach that goal in that time, and you can't be discouraged if things don't happen when you set it for. when you set it to, when you are intentional. Now, of course, if you're intentional and you're pushing and you really, really, really want something and it's meant to be, of course, that can happen within that time frame. I'm not saying that you can't do that, but it's like you have to be logical. If you've never worked out before, if you don't know what it's going to take, instead of having a set specific goal, learn to work with where you are, see what's working for you. So therefore, when you're working out, when you're putting in the work, you're seeing what's working, your trial and error, then you could be specific about certain goals because you've accomplished it. But speaking from experience, you want to start off small. You want to do the small tasks daily. So therefore, as time, like I said, is going by, you're able to judge the results. Then you can be like, okay, I've done this for 3 months. This was the results. This is what didn't work. This is what did work. Moving forward, this is how I'm going to execute this, or this is how I'm going to incorporate this, or whatever it is. Rather, you're going back to school, you're becoming a mom, you're becoming a dad, you're becoming a parent, you're becoming an older cousin, older sibling, you are taking care of kids, you're taking care of a pet, you're getting married, you are starting a business, content creation, whatever it is. You need to know what it is that you want. You need to know the responsibilities. You have to be practical about the time. And most importantly, you have to learn what's working for you. You don't have to worry about what everybody else is doing because it doesn't matter. I tell you guys all the time, if they're not financing you, if they're not feeding you, if they're not educating you, what everybody else is thinking, what everybody else is doing, you can't be worried about that. You have to know that the time that you are investing into yourself, that is going to pay off because you're still showing up. And whenever you do feel overwhelmed, slow down, take a break. I don't believe in working until you become a slave, no shade, and burning yourself out and feeling like if you don't work that you're not going to get anywhere in life. I believe in balance. I believe that some days that you work, and when you do work, you of course put the time, energy, and effort to that and be dedicated, but you also need time to rest. If you work all the time, you will burn yourself out to the point that when you do rest, you'll think that something's wrong with you. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people in this world who are still slaves, and I'm not talking about picking cotton. I'm talking about in their mind, in their spirit, feeling like if they're not overworking themselves, if they're not robotic, that they're not going to be successful. I'm not saying that you don't have to work to not be successful, but we don't have to work hard. You just have to work efficiently and effectively, because you got people that work hard for 20, 30, 40 years, like I said, no shade, and still are not satisfied or still not happy because it's this never ending cycle. So make sure you do work, make sure you're efficient, make sure that the work that you're putting in is intentional. Like, you need to be very strategic. And like I said, if you're new here, you need to watch that playlist because it breaks it down. If you feel like giving up, I want you to start asking yourself, if you were to give up right now, are you proud of yourself? And are you where you want to be? If the answer is no, like I said, you need to take your time. You probably need to rest. You need to have a work balanced life. So it's like the days that you work, and the days that you don't have to work, you need to occupy your mind and make sure you're doing things that are productive, that contribute to the lifestyle that you want to experience, or doing things that don't cause you to feel harm to yourself and to others. So if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, make sure you guys like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Once again, all my social medias will be down in the description box below. Make sure you guys follow me on my Instagram and on TikTok. I'll be going live answering common questions and concerns until we reach our goal here on YouTube. YouTube, what's good? Okay, we got to get to 1,000 followers because I receive a lot of questions all the time, as well as my services on my website. I am your favorite mental health specialist, your NP, naturopathic physician, and your favorite rich auntie on other platforms. And let me guys know in my story by voting in my polls what you guys want to talk about, if I haven't talked about any questions, comments, and concerns, as well as the YouTube community section. But if you were to give up on yourself right now, would you be where you want to be? Okay, love you, bye.